For the past few months, I've been working on a podcast called Event Stars to help people in the events industry, and I've had some really fantastic opportunities to interview some superb people from the industry and beyond. But like many things at the moment, now is not the time to launch it. Now's the time where we need to come together and support each other for what is going to be truly difficult times ahead. So I've been switching it up a little bit while my business is pretty much at zero, and decided to do a podcast that can help people cut through the noise and help businesses hopefully grow and learn during this period. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that something good can come from it. If you've got any suggestions, then feel free to get in touch. Hello and welcome to Opportunity in Isolation. In this episode, I interview Bally Singh, who is an entrepreneur and the founder of the Rich List Group, which commands attention of an international following. Running his multi-million pound business with offices in the UAE, Marbella and London, Bally specialises in the VIP A-list event scene. Bally's famously known as the turban-wearing international event organiser for the rich and famous, throwing the most lavish parties and successfully running the F1 exclusive after parties. Born and raised in Leicester, Bally went on to marry his business partner and Spanish fashion model Ana Santos, who he credits for his business success. In 2019, Bally organised a supercar tour from Marbella to London, featuring the cast from a Netflix hit show Power, hosting a gala charity event on the way and concluding the tour in Mayfair, London. Like for many in the events industry during the COVID-19 epidemic, the future scheduling of Bally's VIP events has been left uncertain. But always the optimist, Bally has worked from home, launching a new business in the energy drinks industry, partnering with influencer Aaron Lambo, producing their new product, Mental Energy. Bally counts Jay-Z's Ace of Spades amongst his clients. His VIP friendship circle includes the likes of Sting, Pharrell and Lewis Hamilton, to name but a few. And moreover, Bally has collaborated and worked with some of the world's biggest brands, including Rolls-Royce, McLaren, Michael Kors and Dior. In this podcast, at certain points, the conversation did get a bit deep and philosophical, especially when we talk about culture and the importance of Bally's identity as a thing. But we also covered a range of topics, including how he views opportunity in lockdown, as well as how he's been able to captivate audience and celebrities at events. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Bally Singh from the Rich List Group. So at the moment you can go outside, but you can't go to any restaurants and bars or anything like that.
No, at the moment we can go out for exercise at set times. I think it's 8 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock, and then it's I think it's in the evening 7 o'clock, 8 till 11.
Yeah, because I know Spain had it quite bad, and the restrictions were a lot stricter than they are here in England at the moment.
I'm very happy they were, because right now our numbers are nothing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really bad, the amount of people that are still passing away, but it's a lot lower than the numbers that were started. I think we're on today, the numbers are, sorry, I keep on asking Anna things. I have to. How many? 130 people, from 600-700 people passing away a day to 130 is quite good. People in intensive care has come all the way down to 1,300. We're getting there.
Okay, that's good.
I think, I know there's a lot of people criticising the Spanish government, but everybody criticises every government. I really think they've done a good job.
I think at the moment every government's been criticised in some way because there's been deaths, but I don't think there's been. This is unprecedented. I don't think any government knew what the right answer was, and I think there's going to be a lot to learn from this. Okay, so moving on. I've been looking at a bit of your profile, and something that confused me was that some people have quoted you as being the most interesting person in India, But I remember you from Leicester, because when I was at university in Leicester, I'm sure I used to see you at Flaming Colossus back in the day. Is it called Flaming Colossus? Yeah. So how did the whole most interesting person in India come from? Because as far as I know, you're not from India.
I think it was a bit of a confusion, but I class myself as Indian. I don't class myself as British because I'm okay. Technically, I have the passport, but I always say this to people: if I was born in Japan, for example, right, and my parents are from India, my father's from India, just because I'm born in Japan doesn't mean I'm Japanese. So, I'm still Indian. So I believe in my roots. I've kept my identity for all these years. So, you know what? I am proud of being an Indian. So I class myself as an Indian. And I think some people who did some press articles on me class me as the most interesting Indian in the world. But I think that's a little bit exaggerated. There's a lot more intellectual and more interesting people out there. That's the truth.
And in terms of now you live in Spain, what was it that made you move to Spain in the first place?
So I actually live in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Spain's a holiday home. I have business interests here, but Spain's a beautiful place. It's an amazing place. I love the climate. You get sun 300 days of the year. The weather's nice. The food's amazing. I just love being here in Spain. So I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here. In Abu Dhabi, I have a lot of commitments over there work-wise. So that's where we spend most of our time.
So now you could be classed as a Spanish, British, Emirati Indian then?
I wouldn't say Emirati, but I could say UAE resident, yes.
Yeah, you'd have a very good passport if you were Emirati. Let's agree on that now. I mean, a lot of people have asked me what Rich List is all about when I was putting this out there. So, I mean, you can explain that a lot better than I can.
Look, Rich List is one of our companies that me and Anna work on and control.
Anna being your wife.
Anna being my business partner and my wife. My wife first, and then my business partner, or my business partner first, and then my wife. I'm not quite sure way she would like me to say it, but it is what it is. So we have the Rich List Group, which does a lot of events. We do a lot of Formula One after parties, hosting. We sell the hospitality packages for them. That's one. We have a consultancy company which consults for governments and puts on corporate events. They could be from conferences to social media events. It could be anything. So we have that section, and we consult for quite a few governments. And then we have the hospitality side of things when it comes to food, F&B. We have Rosas, it's one of our restaurants, which we're going to be franchising around the world. And then we've just started another company, which is mentalenergy.com, which is an energy drink, selling energy products and so on, which we've just announced today.
Okay, we'll have a talk about that in a little while, but a lot of people see the lifestyle that you lead and some of the parties, the glitz and glamour, and being in the events industry myself, people often mistake the fact that it's all champagne and cocktails, but they don't understand the fact that there's a lot of hard work behind it. I mean, what does day-to-day operations look like for you?
Number one, I just always like to say I don't drink. Yep. So I'm not there to get drunk. And I always tell people I run an events company, and my staff and my team don't drink either. Because at the end of the day, if you're working in Lister's firm, if you're working in Asda, if you were working in the bank, you wouldn't halfway through your day pull out a bottle of, brandy and start drinking it. You wouldn't, would you?
Some bankers do that on a Friday afternoon.
But I think it's more about being responsible and throwing good events. We are always focused so our clients can have a good time. There's quite a few people that have joined, that have been to my events. One being Bav, who's my business partner in Mental Energy now, which we're going to announce very soon. So, we spend a lot of time in the office and we spend a lot of time on logistics and setup. Nobody actually sees, they see the 3 days at the Formula One, parties going off, people having a good time. But there's around 250 people that run that operation in our area alone. So it's a lot of logistics, a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of transporting people, making sure everybody's there. 3-day setup before the event, and 100 things go wrong because it's a huge event, a government event in Abu Dhabi. There's a lot of restrictions. We have to get our setup done at the same time. Everybody has to be endorsed. Everybody has to go through a screening process with the government to make sure they're allowed to operate in the UAE. So a lot of those things go on.
So give me an example of some of the things that people don't see from the social media, like that goes on behind the scenes. Maybe some of the challenges that you face, especially for people who want to get into the events industry.
I think there's always a lot of challenges, especially when it comes to the bigger event. It's all about reputation, and you have to build it. Nobody can just come, and a lot of people with money think, okay, I want to put on, let's say, the Weeknd. The Weeknd, doesn't matter how much money you have. It's all about your reputation in the industry. If you've not put on 15, maybe 100 events and concerts, the Weeknd's not going to say, "Oh, give me $5 million and I'll come and perform at your event." No, it's all about reputation and building your brand and your product, where brands trust your brand, because the Weeknd's a brand, 50 Cent's a brand, and we know their brand with hands. So people think, "Oh yeah, I can just do an amazing event because I've got the money." It doesn't work that way. It's all about the respect. And when people when you have that respect, then people will trust you and come and perform for you at your event. And it's like the Weeknd came to one of my events a couple of years ago because we had a relationship, and he knew when he was going to come, he could get the service, he'd get looked after, he wouldn't mob him with people, he could enjoy himself. Same with Lewis Hamilton, same with Alonso. We have a good fun with these people, and they trust us.
How did you get access to the likes of Alonso and Lewis Hamilton and get them to come to some of your events in the first place, without giving away obviously trade secrets, but just so people understand it?
I think it's the same way. With Alonso, he did a Q&A with McLaren and Esquire magazine, and they wanted us to host the event, so we did. Again, it's about Esquire magazine trusting the Rich List brand to make sure that we know how to host the guest, we know how to entertain it, and the experience for Alonso has to be smooth, and they trusted us with this. And he had no problems, and he had an amazing time. Same with Lewis Hamilton. When he does come to one of the events, he knows he's not going to get mobbed. We're going to give him an area. There's not going to be any drama. There's not going to be press setups. And that's one thing a lot of celebrities are scared of. You will only find out celebrities being to my event after the celebrity's been. And there'll never be any drama or any scandals at my event because we just don't allow it.
And how do you sort of make sure that these guys don't get mobbed at your events? Is it a case of making sure the security's there? Is it making sure that it's a secret that they're turning up so the paparazzi don't find out?
It's always good to keep everything discreet. A lot of people do it for the PR and press and start screaming and shouting, "This person's coming," then all of a sudden you've got 1,000 people standing outside the front door, 500 standing outside the back door because they know he's going to come through the back door, and you have a lot of trouble. We don't tell anybody anybody's coming. They only find out once people actually physically see them. Like, is that the Weeknd? Is that 50 Cent? Is that, that's the way we like doing it. People come, we make sure people come for the experience, not the artist. So richness is all about experience. When you go to the Formula One, you're the celebrity. For me, my clients are celebrities. Yep. I have to make sure they have a good time more than the celebrity, because you're the ones who are paying my wages. You're the ones who are paying $5,000, $8,000 for a table. And if your experience doesn't go well and smooth, you won't come back. So that's my main priority. My clients are my celebrities, and the celebrities are more friends and relationships we've built up over the years. So when they come, it's no fuss, there's no drama. Look, give us a table out the way, please, and we're just going to have some fun. And that's the way we keep it.
What is the difference between a high-end event and a luxury rich list event? What distinguishes the two, would you say?
It's all about the experience. From when you enter our venue, from the person at reception escorting you to your table, making sure you've got the table that you want, making sure you've got the drinks that you want, making sure everything's smooth, so you're completely happy. And sometimes come and they say, you know what, this view's okay, but I want to go right next to the track. Yep, this is too far. Okay, let's see if we can accommodate you. It's all about being flexible and hospitable, and I think we've got that down to a T. It's all about customer experience.
You've said that you learned a lot from your dad, because I know you used to work with your dad in the clothing factory, didn't you? What are some of the similarities of behind the scenes operations that you probably, I guess, like traits that you've got that your dad had?
Well, it's not finished until it's finished. That's my trade. I don't go home until the job's done. So I can go home when 2:00 comes, everything's closed. I can just go to my hotel room and go to sleep. No, until everybody's packed up, until the team's completely closed up the shop, I won't go, because I class myself as a part of the team. And I need to be there from start to finish. Drives the management crazy sometimes, but that's the key. It's always be on point, and the only person you can trust is yourself. And that's the truth. Managers, whoever it may be, they're there, they'll do a good job, don't get me wrong. But unfortunately, I'm very, very hands-on, and I need to make sure everything's perfect. There's a lot of things that go wrong with these businesses.
So in terms of if you wanted to scale what you're doing, and I know you are working on scaling it, you yourself can't be in like 10 different places at one time. How would you see that working, especially as you're now married, you've got a family, and you don't necessarily want to be at those events all the time?
Well, we have a lot of events. We have Singapore, we have Abu Dhabi, we have Vietnam, we have Monaco. I'm not always at all the events, but I have members and partners in my company that I trust, and they go and handle certain things. So, it's okay. We scale, and we have companies that we work with that are reliable, respectable, and trustworthy. So we just put it in their hands.
And how have you learned to sort of balance a family life with what you do as well? Because again, even with myself, a lot of people have the perception that you're out all the time partying when you've got an events company, but it doesn't work like that. When you've got a family comes first.
Me, Anna, and the kids, we are hermits. We just like spending time alone. And if I'm not going to an event, I'm not going out. We'll go to a restaurant, we'll go to a beach club to have dinner. And that's it. We don't party. We don't spend all our time in bars and nightclubs. We just go do our job and we come home. We're very homely people. My kids are at the stage of their life, they don't really want to hang around with dad anymore. Indy's 22. Well, he kind of does. He hangs around with us. But the other two, my other two daughters, they're too cool for school, as they say. So they just do their own thing. I have to talk to them or call them. They never call me. If they're watching this,
I've got it all to come. And You've said that you've built your business by standing out and not blending in. So let's talk about social media for a minute, because a big part of how you've built your brand is through social media. What does standing out and not blending in mean from a personal perspective and also a social media perspective?
With me, I've always been very proud of who I am. And the only reason I haven't got a turban on today is because I'm at home and we're not going out anywhere. So otherwise, and the reason why I wear a turban, before I used to wear the badka a lot more, the reason why I wear the turban all the time now is because my wife doesn't let me out the house without it on, literally. And I'd like to say this because I've noticed throughout the years as I've grown up, and more Indian girls are more shy of having, getting married or having a boyfriend with a turban than a guy with a haircut. They want to be more socially acceptable, so they think having a Sikh guy with a turban and a beard, oh, my friends Katie and John and Stu or wherever it may be, aren't going to accept it. I'm sorry. It's just not me. I've always stood out. And I did a thing. Let me bring something up. I did something with some artists called the Cray Twins. You know them?
Yeah, I remember the song, very famous a long time ago.
Yeah, which was a very famous.
Yeah, I remember it.
Jay-Z and WMC. What I did was, and the reason why I invested in them and became their partners and managed them was because they had badke and they had beards. And my whole focus on that was so they'd get recognized and they didn't have to cut their hair, they didn't have to get rid of their beards, they didn't have to do anything, they could just be themselves. And we got the first ever UK rap with US rap collaboration, first ever. And it was number one in the urban charts for 6 weeks, right? And my whole point was to do that. If you want to be a footballer, there is racism in football. Yep. There's racism in your office. There's racism on the basketball court. There's racism everywhere. Yep. But if you have talent, it can't be ignored. It's the same way I am. My talent didn't get ignored because they saw what I was capable of. And it's your job to be yourself and get past that. If you can't get past that within yourself, how are you going to let other people see it? Never be ashamed of who you are, where you come from. That's the key. And the minute you think, oh, to fit in, I have to change myself. Yep, I have to start smoking. I have to start drinking. You just forget the main purpose of your life. You are you, yep, and always be you. And that's the truth. And I always say this when I do interviews and I speak to kids, always be yourself. Don't let anybody change you. Your identity is your identity. And there's one more thing I want to say. Our kids, yep, and I know I sell alcohol. Yep, and my business is around champagne and lifestyle and experiences. Yep, that doesn't mean because your father drinks or your baba drinks, that doesn't mean you have to drink. Yep, and our kids, and I saw this when I was growing up, right? And I say this out of experience. People around me, friends, families, it was like, right, it's Manpreet's wedding, right? Everybody goes to the wedding. Yep. The dads, spend like 2 minutes in the Godrama. That take everybody to the local bar. Yep. After the local bar, everybody straight to the hall and getting drunk. And guess who drives home? Mum, because dad's too drunk. It upsets me because look what you're showing to your children. You're showing to your children, oh, this is acceptable. This is acceptable. Dad can be an alcoholic, yeah, and mum can drive him home. It's not the way the world works, and it's not the way we should treat our women, our children, and our families. It's not right to get drunk every weekend. Yeah, it's not right to go to the pub every day. It's not right. You can go. I mean, look, I used to go to the pub, but I don't drink. And I still used to hang around with my mates. Yep. And a lot of kids do it to get out their shell. Yep. And they think, well, dad does it, so should I. It's not cool. It's not right. It's the wrong impression. And I'm sure there's going to be a few people upset with me by me saying this. But just think about it. Do you really want to show your kid that life? Or do you want to show them a better life? Because that's what your parents brought you. Parents came over to England to show you a better life. And what are you going to show your kids? To be an alcoholic? Seriously.
I think the important thing for people to understand is that what you do in terms of your work, it's a show. That's what it is. It's what people see on social media, what they believe, what they think, and that social media isn't always real life. And unfortunately, perception is reality, and people like to see someone driving around in a fancy car, people at parties all the time and things like that, and think that is the way that what having a good life is about.
Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Having a drink with your friends isn't a bad thing. In moderation. When it becomes, and I'm saying this in Punjabi, when it becomes an amal, yeah, when you get addicted to something, even cha, tea, it's an addiction, and you can't live without it. Yeah, and that's what us as Sikhs, right, have been taught. You don't need to be addicted to something. You can drink. You can drink this. You can go. I mean, I'm not saying Sikhs can go have a drink. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you do everything in moderation, it's fine. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. Just having a balance. That's what I always say.
And no, it's fine. I know we got very deep there. I think I appreciate the where this conversation has kind of gone, and I know there's like a lot of people from around the world who may not kind of understand exactly where you're coming from a Sikhism point of view, and I think it's great that you're sharing that message as well. How has it been in Spain? Because I know there's a lot less Sikhs in Spain than there are in the UK. For example, you come from Leicester. I mean, you go around the corner, every other person's a Singh.
I've been the only Sardar in my area for the last 10 years. There's no Sardars here.
So Sardar, for people who don't understand, is a Sikh with a turban, yeah.
So you won't see any turbans. Yeah, and when I did come here for the first time, I did have a few problems. Don't get me wrong. People did look at me as racism, but again, I refuse to back down. It's the truth. I refuse to. And one of the reasons why I got respect here in Marbella was there's promoters here. I was a small-time promoter when I first came. And there was a charity boxing, right? And they matched me up with a guy called Phil Savage. He's a good friend of mine. He was a good friend of mine then as well. Phil's around 16, 17 stones. He's a big lump, right? And I was around 13 stones. So it's a big weight difference. So we got set up for a charity boxing. It was completely mismatched. But, I'm a Sardar and, it's in my nature. We not back down. I said, okay, let's do it. So we ended up having this boxing show. And I was on the Irish team and there was a British team. And Phil was on the British and I was on the Irish boys team. And it's a big gym in Spain and all around the world. It's MTK. Like all the big boxers, Macklin's gym, Matthew Macklin, and he's the world champion now. What's his name?
In what way?
English heavyweight.
Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury. Yeah. Tyson trains there. Yeah. So anyway, it was a handy gym, and we did this charity boxing thing. I won the first round. I won the second round. Third round, I got knocked out. I got straight back up, shook his hand, and we both went out, to party, to celebrate. But at the end of the day, after that, everybody showed me more respect. They came up to me and said, Bally, you really, really showed us what you're about. You know, the guy was 3 stones heavier than you, bigger, fitter, stronger, and you still held your own. Because I was still laughing and joking in the ring. I was having fun, even when I got back up. And I can remember this because after the morning after, Phil met me for breakfast. Yep. And he said, I've never been, and Phil can have a fight. He's a big lump. And he said, Bally, I've never been hit so hard in my life. He goes, my head is still ringing now. Poor guy. He's a good friend of mine. He had 2 black eyes, a bit of a bent nose. I was completely fine. So I was, I was lucky. The only reason I personally think, and if Phil's listening, the only reason I kind of lost that fight because I ran out of stamina. Third round.
He might ask you to go again.
When you've got when you've got the Irish in the corner, saying move forward, you move forward. You don't go backwards. Because it's worse
going backwards,
go forward. So I think I ran out of steam, and it was good fun, and we both remember it, and we all have that memory. But saying that, that's one of the reasons I got my respect. Earn your respect. When the world sees you won't back down, you won't take no for an answer, or give you the opportunities. The same thing happened in Abu Dhabi, right? When I started the Formula One, I had 5 tables in a VIP area. That's what I started with. 5 tables. Right.
So to get this right, you did you pre-buy the 5 tables and then resell them?
They asked me, because I used to have VIP clients. I said, Bally, how about we give you the VIP area to sell to your clients? I said, okay, I'll take it. Then the year after, the hotel saw what I did and said, Bally, would you like to do the whole event? And gave me the whole venue. Then after that, my relationship grew with the ownership of the hotel and the actual hotel itself. And now we have over 15,000 people over the weekend at our event. So it's all about people giving you opportunities and you believing in yourself so people can believe in you.
And I think what you show there is that sometimes you don't have to go out and do something huge to start with. It's just like going there and saying, all right, I'm going to show these guys what I can do with 5 tables. And it's not the whole club, but what I'm going to do is bring the best quality of people there. And then because I've been able to do that, now I can show you how I can scale that.
The advice I give to anybody in any business or any job, right? Do the best you can. Be the best of whatever you do. May it be a road sweeper, may it be an accountant. Put your heart and soul into it. Because when somebody sees you put your heart and soul into something that you're doing, you get people's attention. When you half-ass things, and just do your job and go home, you don't get anybody's attention. Be the best of whatever you do. If it's boxing, it's boxing. If it's running, it's running. If it's football, put your heart and soul into it. When I first went to kickboxing, this was when I was 17. And this Jag's one of my best friends. He's a Sikh from Leicester, and he owns a Leicester Kickboxing. You might have gone when you were a student. Anyway, the first time I met Jag was on the roof of his gym. He was painting something on his roof, and he beat me up. Not literally, just put me on the floor and gave me a couple of dig outs because I was a cheeky little git. But I said to myself, I like boxing. I'm going to do it. And I was terrible. I was horrendous. I'm not joking. I could not. I wasn't flexible. I wasn't fit. But I put my mind to it, and I became the British pro-am champ in 11 seconds.
The British what champ?
British pro-am champ.
Okay.
The British pro-am. It's a WKA association.
Okay.
And I had this guy beat me on points once, and then I had a rematch with him, and I knocked him out in 11 seconds of the first round. Like I said, it's not me showing how how strong I am or how hard I am. It's about me putting my energy and my time and commitment into something. So it doesn't have to be kickboxing. It doesn't have to be any sport. It can be just you being a interior designer. Put the effort into that interior design job. Put the effort into anything you're doing, and you will reap the reward. That's the truth. When I see somebody that works for me, or works with me, I rather say, I never say people work for me. When I see somebody with potential, I say to them, you know what, if you carry on this way, I want to give you a share in my company. And I do. And I have in the past. People have become partners in my business because they've shown me that I can trust them and they're going to be there for me every day when I need them the most. Look at right now. Yep. Some people have shown their colors. Don't get me wrong. We have 4 offices. Yep. But some people have made me sit down and think, wow, I need to appreciate this person more. You know, and that's what shines in your boss's eyes and anybody else's boss's eyes. You go out your way to make sure you do a good job. That's my opinion.
Talking about commitment and sort of being focused and all the rest of it, what does life look like right now for you? All right, let's think about coronavirus for a second and what's going on and lockdown. How have you adapted your life in this moment?
Let me explain to you the way I see coronavirus. My kids are safe. My parents are safe. Yep. My wife and me are safe. What else is there to worry about? Everything else can be rebuilt. Everything else can be gained again, but not your life. Not your parents' life, not your kids' life, not your wife's life, not your husband's life. Yep. Once you've lost it, you've lost it, guys. So I know we're all moaning and complaining about how this is affected our businesses, and I'm sorry, I'm still working. Doesn't matter what you do. I'm in events. Come on, guys. I'm in events. We're completely destroyed. We don't know when we're going to do another event. It could be 2021. It could be 2022. That doesn't mean I'm giving up. I've launched another 2 companies while I've been sitting at home because I won't let it beat me. And you should not let it beat you. This is an opportunity for you to sit at home and think, right, what am I doing with my life? What should I be doing with my life? And how can I improve my life? And how can I do something even from sitting at home? Do you know how many people have gone online and started their own companies? Maybe hand sanitizer, maybe face mask, whatever it is. You can't knock anybody for trying to feed their family. You can't. So you can always do something. I've adjusted and adapted. You need to adjust. Everybody needs to, not you personally, but we all need to adjust and adapt.
Yeah.
And think of new ideas. We have to reinvent the wheel. So that's my opinion. Very happy, very grateful, and really Corona, it will come, it will go, and life will carry on, and we'll start rebuilding.
That's it. And I mean, humanity is resilient. Humans have come through a lot, and I think, like you said, the most important thing is your health and the people around you, and making sure they're okay, and everything else, again, quoting yourself, can be rebuilt. And I think that's a really good, positive message to be able to give. So we've talked about a lot of deep stuff. Now let's talk a little bit about business, because that is a lot of what you're known for. How has it affected your business? You said it's events based, and
all our events have been postponed indefinitely because we're not sure if any of the races are going to go ahead. There is a bit of a penciled in calendar. And if that happens, great. It'll be towards the end of the year. We have a couple of other projects, big events as well. Again, it's just postponed. There's no timeline here. We were doing Ultra Festival in Abu Dhabi, right? 15,000 people. The stages were going up. The whole thing was being put up. I flew in. We were ready to roll. Yep. One day before the event, it all gets cancelled. Of course, there's a huge loss. Of course, there's bills to pay. But you just have to adjust. Everybody has to adjust. You all have to adapt. Any business you're doing, there's always a way of making revenue if you think about it. So don't think it's the end of the world, because I'm sitting here owning an events company that does not even know when I'm going to be able to throw another event. The summer season here in Spain, completely destroyed. Yep. It's just about, in business, you have to be flexible and you have to rethink your business model. So my advice is, to anybody who's doing in any industry that's been affected, which is most probably most industries, rethink about what you do and think of how you can restructure your business and the assets that you have, to make a profit and a revenue in this time. Because there's lots of different things we can do, guys. Lots of different things. I'm looking at lots of different revenue sources and other businesses that I'm not in, and I'm learning. We've had 8 weeks, we've had 2 months to educate ourselves and adapt to another business. So that's what I suggest. We don't know how long it's going to be. Sit down, do your research, think about what else you can do. Don't sit with your head in your hands thinking this is the end of the world. It's not. You just have to have a different mindset and move forward.
So that quote I heard, nothing's the end of the world apart from the end of the world. And I think that's a good thing to...
We're far from it, guys. We're far from the end of the world.
And you mentioned earlier that you've started a new energy drink as a business. How did that even come about?
So I was walking down the street in Marbella one day. And I always used to see this guy on Facebook. We all like a bit of Facebook drama. So there's this guy called Aaron Lambo. Right, he's got tattoos on the side of his face. You can recognize him. I always watch his videos. Him confronting the police, them having arguments, them seizing his bikes, and so on. So anyway, I used to always watch him, and I didn't really know a lot. I liked him because he was cocky and he was a bit of a character. So I was walking down the street in Marbella one day, and I see him walking towards me, as in like he was just walking with his girlfriend. And when you click and you see somebody on a video or something, and you don't realize you don't really know them. But obviously, I saw him and I just went, "Hey, how are you? I watch your videos. How come you're here?" He goes, "Oh, well, I'm here for this movie premiere." I said, "Oh, cool. If you need any help, I'm local." He goes, "Yeah, I'm thinking about moving out to Spain." And I said, "Well, if you need any help with advice with property, I know a couple of agents." He goes, "Oh, amazing." I said, "Take my number." And he sent me a WhatsApp. And we just started talking from there. And he ended up coming to the Formula One in Abu Dhabi. We spent some time together. And Aaron's got an amazing brand called Mental Hamster, which is a supplement company. So bodybuilding, protein, and so on.
Yeah, I don't want to see a mental hamster at the best of times.
Yeah. Anyway, but he has this very good business that does very well. And we started talking about how we can get to his audience. Maybe 10% of his audience is supplement driven. People that go to the gym, blah, 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 blah. I said, "How about doing something?" And we started talking. I said, "How about doing something for the mass market? The other 95% of the audience, which is just normal people." And this is how this energy came about. And this is why we ended up in partnership. And we're launching this energy drink together. We launched the teaser campaign today. And I think the product will be out on sale Tuesday, Wednesday. So I hope it fits something.
So what is it that's going to distinguish you guys between all the other energy drink companies out there at the moment, do you think?
I think our energy drink has numerous amounts of vitamins in and nutrients. And it's how you market anything. That's the truth. Is it better than Red Bull? No, it's not. Is it worse than Red Bull? No, it's not. You can just it's just the same thing. It's got caffeine in, it's got sugar in, and it wakes you up. It's like taking a double espresso. Yeah? What makes it different? Because we're promoting. It's all about the lifestyle. That's the truth. It's about anything. Why does a bottle of Volvic sell for one price and another bottle of Perrier sells for another price? It's all about their marketing. It's like Heineken, it's like Moët, Dom Perignon, all about how you market it. And I think me and Aaron and we're a very good creative team. We're just going to get the name out. There's going to be a lot of exciting things we're doing. There's lots of publicity stunts we're going to pull. And I think people will enjoy it.
And
That's what it is.
And talking about marketing, because I know there will be a lot of people who are interested in how you've been able to market yourself. I mean, you've mentioned obviously your identity, but what about your brand identity and how you might go about creating the brand identity for Mental Hamster?
Oh, it's a long process.
But I mean, some of the quirky things that people can do. I mean, people sitting at home right now who are trying to think about how they can start their business, maybe use social media to promote their business. What are some of the steps that they could take?
Talk to your friends. Because right now, just say you're on Facebook and you're my friend. Yeah, most of us have 3,000 or 4,000 people on Facebook. How hard is it for you to message your friend saying, look, I'm doing something, can you please support me? Simple. Aaron does the same thing, I do the same thing. I approach my friends in a humble way, saying, look, guys, can you help me out? I need this product, can you share my Instagram post? Can you share my Facebook post? Can you help promote me? I really appreciate it. You can start your own business in your own home with your friends. Because your friends are your friends and they'll always help. How hard is it to share someone's post? It's not hard, is it? You can do it within your own community. Think of something which isn't going to cost you a lot of money. It could be from 10 pence to £1, right? We all have that kind of average money in our bank accounts. Whatever it may be. And all it is thinking about a niche in the market. Some people are doing masks. Some people are doing hand sanitizers. It's all about using your brain, thinking about what your friends would need, what you'll need. You know, it could be anything. I'm not going to give you away my ideas, but there's a lot of things out there people are going to need in the future. You know, people that are doing doors, instead of opening it with your hand, you open it with your foot because you don't want to touch your hand with. Yep. So use your brain right now and adapt to the climate. Think about the things people are going to need now. And it doesn't have to be expensive. You could just buy 5 or 10. Sell them to your friends. That's how business starts. And expand. Friends with friends. And that's how it grows. And then people just start following you on social media because you've got a product that sells. And it carries on.
And I think, like, I've seen that doorstop advert as well. The door opening, like a foot handle where you and it's the advert, isn't it? It's 2 guys in the toilet, one of them taking a pee, one of them not washing their hands, and a guy thinks, oh, I don't want to touch the handle, I'll use my foot instead. And there's a door handle with a foot handle at the bottom of the door, and it's just such a brilliant advert, and it's become viral because of that.
How many times have we gone into a men's toilet and you're standing in pee, trying to have a pee? That's the truth, right? Because most guys miss the urinal, and you're just standing and you're standing there thinking, oh my God, I'm standing in pee. And then you see everybody going out the door, nobody's washing their hands, and you think, nah, yeah, it happens.
No, so exactly. Some ideas come from that, and that's probably become popular because of the time we're living in now, in COVID times. So
somebody sat there thinking, hand sanitizer is going to be a massive thing. And they went out, took a risk, bought a load, and they made a lot of money. There's lots of different things that people are going to need. Think about those things and, you know, be an entrepreneur. If you really want to be an entrepreneur, be an entrepreneur. Even if it takes knocking on doors. Go knock on doors. Not right now, by the way. But when this opens, if you really want to make money, you can go make money. You know, people say, oh, can't do anything. You know, I've got so many else. The only obstacle you've got is your pride. Because I stood on markets. You know, I used to shout, $2.99, two for a fiver. I didn't care. You all start from something, and we all want to be. And the issue right now with social media is you don't want to do it because people think you're somebody else. And that's the biggest issue here. You're standing in front of a Ferrari, it ain't yours. Yep. One of your mates is let you stand in front of it, or, use the keys and start the engine. And then you've gone to a really posh hotel, but you're not really staying in that hotel, but you took a picture outside it. Yep. And you keep on doing these constant lies. Go to a wedding. Yeah. Your mate's got a Rolex. You put it on, take a little video. Right. Everybody thinks I've got a Rolex. So how can I stand on Dagenham Market or, Blackbush or Donington? Because people think I'm a millionaire, but you're not. That's what you need to realize. You're not rich. You have to understand you have to keep the lights on. You have to go work. I work, every day. I love working. That's the reason why I'm not in the best place in the world. I've got a lot to do. I've got a lot to achieve, but I'm very lucky with what I do have.
And I think one of the stories that I read about you was when you came back from America and you had a lot less money in your pocket than when you were living in America, and you were having to go back to doing security on doors. And it's a message to say that, you know what, sometimes things don't go your way, and sometimes you are going to fail from a business, but that's life. But you learn a lot from it, and then if you want to get back on your feet, you have to grind.
That's what you need to do. And when I became a doorman, I wasn't embarrassed. I wasn't ashamed. I was a doorman, and I was one of the best doormen out there. Trust me, and everybody knows me from the door days. And I went out and I did my job. And it wasn't about using my hands. Sometimes you had to, but it was about talking people down. Saying, hey, buddy, is it worth it? You really want to get on the floor and roll around? You've got an Armani jumper on. You don't really want to ruin that, do you, mate? Those are white jeans. Do you really want to mess with them? It's about using your brain. But when I became a doorman, I didn't give up. We all have to keep our lights on. We still have to pay our electricity bills. We still have to pay our rates. We have to pay our taxes. Doesn't matter. Don't be proud, man. You don't need to be proud. You need to have money in the bank. Right now, all the social media influencers are struggling because there's no money. And the money that we're making is completely evaporated. That's because they live this life which they can't maintain. Because they're not getting free holidays, they're not getting free rental cars, they're not getting this, they're not getting that. So how are they going to pay for anything? A lot of people have gone off social media. And Adeed just gave me the thumbs up. Adeed, I've seen your messages. I'm sorry, brother. I will call you back. Just a little bit stressed out right now. Sorry. I'll just ignore him now. It's all about focusing, man, and keeping humble and just rolling up your sleeves and getting work done.
That's it.
After this, I might end up becoming a doorman again. I might end up working for somebody, a PR company. I don't know. It's just a risk we have to take.
Yeah.
But just be happy with who you're with and the people you're around.
Like you said earlier, health is your wealth, and that's the most important thing at the moment. So, I don't want to take up too much of your time, and we're kind of getting towards the hour mark. So I've got a couple of questions that people have asked me to ask you. One of them was a friend of mine, Andre from Russia. Shout out to Andre. He asked, where do you see the future of luxury events post-COVID?
I think luxury events will always be there, because there'll be small numbers. But you can throw events for 100 people. Look at the Animized Grand Tour. It was only 100 people because there's 2 people in a car. It's a luxury event. Lamborghini, Rolls Royces, Porsches. So there'll always be that unique IP selling point, because when it's a luxury event, you don't want lots of people there. You just want a small, intimate crowd. So there'll always be events. That's the truth.
And I think the other thing about the difference between this recession and a lot of other recessions is it's not balanced in the sense that everyone's been affected negatively, because there are a lot of people, how we've alluded to, that have done really well from this. People who,
a lot of things that have,
yeah, like if people got on the bandwagon early to bring in hand sanitizers to your country or face masks, they would have smashed it. If people are doing deliveries for takeaways, they've done really well. You know, so there's lots of people who, yeah, maybe, like especially in the future with it being so low, and they could make some money from that. And there will be people who will do well from the bounce back when we get it as well, if they're smart with it.
When it comes to the recession, a lot of people lose a lot of money, but a lot of people make a lot of money as well. So be one of those people that are going to make a lot of money by using what you have and the assets and the resources that you have, and invest in the right things right now.
And my friend Sid, shout out to Sid, he's asked, when do you think events will start up again? I mean, I know you've put a couple of things in your calendar for the end of the year, but I've been speaking to people who are talking about minimum next year now. I don't think Christmas and all that's going to happen.
Guys, governments change. Yep, and people's opinions change very quick. This is something my wife told me, and I always listen to my wife, not because I'm scared of her. Okay, maybe a little bit, but I always listen to my wife because you know what, she's got 2 degrees, she's very clever, and you know what, she does a lot of reading, and I take her opinion on. And just because somebody is saying right now that businesses are going to be closed, for the next year, they're not going to be closed, guys, because if businesses are closed for the next year, the world collapses. Yep. My prediction, you can't hold me to this because I don't really know, but I think you will be going to events by August. Let's see if I'm right or let's see if I'm wrong. Because just imagine right now, on Monday, you can go to a nightclub in Spain.
Really?
Yep. 50% capacity, but you can still go to a nightclub and a bar in Spain. You can go to beach clubs. Yep. You can go to restaurants. You can go to coffee shops. Yep. And you guys are 3 weeks, 4 weeks behind us. So what the government's saying right now will change. As soon as the numbers go down, herd immunity gets better, the numbers are going to change, and we're going to have to open. Look at Belgium and France. They're opening up borders already. So, when people say we're not going to open until 20, drama queens, because the problem with these people is anything that gets posted on Facebook, you take it for real. Doesn't matter what newspaper it is. Doesn't matter if it's Karen from Facebook or Abdul from Manchester. Does not matter. You read it and you think, oh my God. And you tell your wife, oh, they've said this now. Oh, they've said this. No. Be a realist. Research an article that you read. Who's it coming from? Sunday Times. Not Sunday Times. Daily Sport. Are you really going to take an article that somebody shared in the Daily Sport?
People do, man.
So you really have to read between the lines. And the government have done what they've done. Yep. Just because it's law doesn't mean it's right, guys. Yep. And a prime example that I was saying about to Anna. Yep. And Anna was saying to me, she goes, was slavery right? No, it wasn't, was it? Slavery wasn't right, but it was the law. Yep.
It's true, man.
Was the Holocaust right? But was it the law? It was the law, right? The way they treated Jews. Yeah, Jewish people, yes? It was the law, wasn't it? It doesn't mean it's right. So when you think something's wrong, there's nothing bad about protesting about it. Like the people in Spain, they protest. And you don't have to be violent. You can say something, and the governments will listen to you. So don't think because the government says this is the law, doesn't mean it's all right. A law's there, and it can always be changed. So when we talk about what's going to happen in the future, in the next month or so, the UK will see the change, and people will start going back to work. People are working right now. Restaurants will open before July. Thanks, Boris. it's crazy what the governments are coming out with because they just don't know. They're being cautious. They don't want to say something and then get in trouble. So they're giving you extra long dates. Guys, in August we'll be partying together. I guarantee you.
Let's see, man. Let's hope. That's it. Stay positive. And just finally, what have you learned from lockdown? Any sort of new skills you've picked up or anything like that?
Right. This is what I've done. This is the truth. I've had amazing lockdown. I know I'm not allowed to say it, but I have. I've got to spend more time with my wife. Yep. I've got to spend more time with me mentally. Have had more time to think, and I've lost 5 kg. I went into the lockdown at 76. I'm 71 now.
What was that from doing? Dieting, exercising more? What?
Exercising with the wife. We started doing a Pilates cross kind of challenge every day, and I managed to lose weight, and dieting as well. Dieting's a big part of it, and I managed to start other business ventures because I'm not sitting there sulking, acting like it's the end of the world. That's the truth.
What's your diet look like at the moment?
Man, I don't have breakfast. I go for my run, which is only 3-4 kilometers, and then we have lunch, which is quite healthy. Maybe eggs, maybe tuna salad. Very, very healthy. And in the evening again, it's low carbs, proteins, starving, thinking about chocolate. And then on the weekends, I binge. So today's Friday, I'm going crazy. Chocolate, I've had crunchies up. And then on Monday, I go back to my routine. It's working for me, so why not?
I mean, do you think it's easier to be healthy in Spain than it is in the UK?
I think it's easy to be healthy wherever you are. People can be healthy in prison, guys. Just an excuse. If you want to drop to the floor and do 50 press-ups and do 50 sit-ups, you can do it, can't you?
It's true. Yeah.
It's the mindset.
I'm just reflecting on. I spent about a month with the family in Spain a couple of years ago in Valencia, great city, and I think just the outdoor life that you get to experience there, it's just a lot more kind of motivating to want to get out and about, take a walk, and even the food, it just feels a lot fresher than what we're used to picking up from.
And the sun makes you happy. Vitamin D
definitely makes me happier.
Talking about, and I think the UK is going to get a lot of vitamin D in the next few days.
Hope so. Yeah. Mini heat wave, like 19 degrees.
Hey, better than what we've had, because for the last 7 weeks we've had rain in Spain. So, we've been indoors, but we're not complaining. But I think, like you said, Spain is a very nice place.
Yeah.
The UAE is a very nice place because of the sun and the climate. Sun makes you happy, and I chase the sun because I want to be happy. And my wife's the same. She's a baby.
Good. Bally, last thing, any message for the world that you want to relay before we go?
I'm not going to say stay safe. I'm just going to say, look, enjoy the moment. Enjoy it now, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. I always do this. I go on holiday. I do what I want because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So right now, guys, if you're sitting next to your kids, if you're sitting next to your mom, have a talk. Enjoy the moment because you don't know when it's going to be your last. Seeing so many people pass away. Who wants to be the richest man in the graveyard? Not me.
Wise words.
I'd rather be happy.
Wise words. Bro, it's been an insightful, interesting, thought-provoking conversation. Thank you so much for your time. And stay safe, stay healthy, and be happy, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care,
cheers. Thank you for listening and watching. If you've got any suggestions or any feedback, then feel free to get me on Twitter at GurmejSP or Insta at events_Gurmej, spelled Gurmej. Thank you for listening. Catch you soon.